So there's one scene in The Matrix that got me thinking a while back.
Here you go, buddy. Breakfast of champions.
It's a single-celled protein combined with synthetic aminos, vitamins, and minerals. Everything the body needs.
And it got me thinking, is there actually anything that has everything the body needs in the first place?
Give your meat a good old rub. That's it. Nice and hot. Hot and spicy meat. Yeah, boy.
Oddly enough, there actually is something that has everything the body needs. Now, yes, if you've seen my previous videos before, you would probably know that this is carnivore. But carnivore itself actually isn't perfect. And that might sound a little weird at first to anybody who is carnivore watching this, and to those who aren't and who don't know about it. I'll be going a little bit into the science behind it. But yes, even carnivore itself isn't perfect. Now, I think there's a couple reasons why carnivore isn't perfect, but regardless, I do believe that carnivore is the best option. There is no better option out there, and when I say no better option, I really do mean there is no better option. And that has to do with plants having phytotoxins, it has to do with plants having extra carbohydrate, but even then, and as well actually as plants having higher amounts of polyunsaturated fats, which make them more unstable and more prone to lipid peroxidation. But not only that, it has to do a little bit more with amino acids. Now in this video, I'm going to be covering amino acids and why amino acids are very, very important. So let's jump into amino acids and understand amino acids in a bit more detail. Now first, what exactly are amino acids in the first place? Well, amino acids, to put it very, very simply, are just the smallest building block of protein. And it eventually comes down to tons and tons and tons of amino acids which make up a protein. Now the importance of amino acids though in particular is unbelievably important. And that's because amino acids are important in basically any sort of creation process in your body. So that could be maybe creating neurons, it could be creating muscle tissue, it could be creating or helping the development of organs or maybe a specific cell. I mean, it is so unbelievably important that amino acids just really, they are one of the most important things in all of the foundations of life. Now, there's a little bit of a catch though when it comes to humans. Now, humans can't actually make every single amino acid that they need. They actually have to ingest some of the amino acids that they can't create. And what are they exactly? Well, we're going to go a little bit into detail about some of the amino acids that humans can make and humans can't make under certain conditions. And then after that, we will be explaining just why amino acids can basically be found much more prevalently in meat than in any sort of plant, and that has to do with, yes, you might have heard the term before, soy boy. Well, this is a little bit more where it comes from, and it's actually because they're not getting any protein in the first place. You can get protein from plants, but it's a little difficult, and it's, to be honest, really, really tedious. So let's get to it. So first, let's talk about the amino acids that we can synthesize on our own, and we do not need to ingest, but could be helpful to ingest them under certain conditions, although a little bit rare. So what are they exactly? Well, the ones that we can synthesize on our own are alanine, asparagine, aspartic acid, and glutamic acid. Now, there are some amino acids that can be synthesized, but they're a little bit more conditional because when the body experiences certain things, maybe it might be stress, it could be illness, then these amino acids can't be synthesized, which is a little weird. You might think about it, but yeah, so you ever wonder why stress might play a role in affecting your body? This is one of them. So what exactly are the amino acids that your body can synthesize, but under certain conditions? So the examples of these are arginine, cysteine, glutamine, glycine, proline, serine, and tyrosine. Now, there's also a list of amino acids, though, that your body cannot synthesize. And when I mean cannot synthesize, I mean they cannot synthesize them at all. And we must get them from our diet. Now, this in particular is where things become important, and we will see a little bit further on just why even meat itself isn't perfect, although it is by far the best option. And plants are not just bad, they're hideous when it comes to the amino acid profile. So what exactly are the amino acids that we cannot synthesize on our own at all? The list of amino acids that we cannot synthesize on our own are histidine, isoleucine, leucine, lysine, methionine, phenylamine, threonine, tryptophan, and valine. Now, actually, all life is made up of amino acids, and we could go over the 300 other amino acids that apply to other animals, but in this video I'm just going to be covering the ones that specifically apply to humans because, again, that's the most important. Now, this is where I'm going to be talking about amino acid profiles. Now, what exactly are amino acid profiles, and why are amino acid profiles important in the first place? And on top of why are amino acid profiles important, we need to understand a little bit more about how exactly they function and why they're synchronous in the first place. Well, let's get to it. So, why exactly are amino acids synchronous? Now, to keep it short in one sentence, if it's understandable, amino acids are all based on the lowest link and the weakest link. And what exactly do I mean by that? Well, basically, if you have tons of every single amino acid that you cannot synthesize except you have only one tryptophan, then it will all go down to one tryptophan and one valine, one isoleucine, one, the rest of them. And that's to keep it simple. Now, to think about amino acids like an analogy, let's look at the word knowledge. Now, the word knowledge has 9 letters in it. And again, we can basically say that each of these letters represents one of those amino acids. So maybe tryptophan is the K in knowledge, and you can assign each amino acid to one of those letters. Now, let's say we have 100 of the letters K, N, O, W, L, E, D, and G, and E of the word knowledge. Now, that means that we can spell knowledge 100 times, so we can synthesize 100 amino acids of whatever we want. I don't know, maybe we're building neurons or we're making muscle cells. Now, that in particular is when it comes to if they're all perfectly aligned, but amino acids don't work like that. And that's because we might need more of some than others. So what exactly does that mean? Well, that means that let's say we have excess amino acids on this one. Let's say we have 100 of the letter K, N, O, and every single letter except the last letter. We only have 5 of the letter E. Now, why is that a big deal? Well, that's because every single time we try to spell the word knowledge, we can only actually spell it 5 times. And the reason we can only spell it 5 times is because we only have 5 E's. Even though we have the rest of every single letter except knowledge, we can only spell it 5 times. So what exactly happens to the rest of the amino acids and where do they go? Well, this is where even meat itself isn't perfect, and they all get converted into glucose. Now, I have a video coming out. I'm gonna be talking about the details behind glucose, so if you're interested in that, stick around, because that's going to be a really, really big video, and you're going to see a little bit more about why I sort of fear glucose. I don't fear it in the sense that it's bad for you, because in some senses your body does need glucose, but any exogenous glucose, your body never needs it. And I think that giving your body any exogenous glucose is very, very damaging. Now, we're going to apply what we just learned to the real world. Now, to do this, we're going to look at 2 foods in particular, and you can compare them. You can compare any actually meat to any plant, but in the end, it's all the same. And this has to do with the amino acid profile of both the meat that you might be eating and the plant that you might be eating as well if you're eating plants. So let's understand what exactly is going on here. Now, I have quinoa, and we can see that the amino acid profile of quinoa in particular seems to be pretty high, and obviously it's touted as a superfood when it comes to protein and in the plant space. So, as you can see, this is the amino acid profile for quinoa. Now remember that you can attribute each one of these amino acids to a letter, and it might be K, N, O, W, L, E, D, G, or E in the word knowledge, or you can take any 9-letter word that you want and attach one amino acid to that specific letter. Now let's do the exact same thing, except let's look at the amino acid profile for, let's just say, eggs. Now eggs in this case are the highest when it comes to the best amino acid profile, and that has to do with eggs literally have everything that life requires. It's literally giving birth of a new life. So the amino acid profile is most likely expected to be much, much higher, and lo and behold, it's not even close. Actually, the amino acid profile of eggs are so much higher in every single standard in comparison to quinoa. Now the crazy thing about that amino acid profile of quinoa, that actually includes the sprouts and the leaves, the entire thing of quinoa. And it goes to show you just how big the amino acid profile for animals are versus plants. So that's most likely a little bit of an indicator that animals are definitely a little bit healthier, especially on the protein side. Now the crazy part is, yes, these are both in terms of 100 grams of quinoa versus 100 grams of eggs. So it's the amino acid profile of eggs is definitely, it's so high it's not even close. And this is actually why eggs in particular have the best amino acid profile even in comparison to meat. And yes, so that means that you get more of all the essential amino acids that you would need more relatively from eggs. Now, even though carnivore is definitely by far the best option, it is not perfect. And why exactly even is carnivore itself not perfect? And this has to do with the fact that not all of the amino acids end up getting used. And again, if you know a little bit about my, I guess you could say, fear of glucose, then all of them get converted into glucose. And once again, I don't like glucose at all, basically. I only like glucose when you are making your own glucose through gluconeogenesis. I absolutely do not like glycolysis at all. Now, let's just take, again, our letter knowledge. And let's say we have 100 of every single letter, and now this time we actually only have 30 of the letter E, but we have 100 of every single other letter. Well, that means, again, 70 K's, N's, O's, W's, L, E, D, G's all get converted into glucose. And that, again, that's a problem. And why is that a problem? Because when we increase the glucose level, we damage the endothelium and a lot of other things. So if you're really interested in the science behind that, I recommend you go check out my previous videos where I talk about the damage that excess glucose can cause in the first place, and in fact the oxidation of glucose as well, because it promotes lipid peroxidation and it promotes a lot of very, very bad things like reactive oxygen species as well. Not good, no bueno. Now, this means that none, and I mean none, of the meat, plants, even eggs that we consume are all 100% perfect in their amino acid composition for what we need. And that probably also has to do with the fact that each person uses different amino acids to a different level, most likely. And that makes things a little complicated and a little bit nuanced. So yes, again, there is nuance to everything. And even though carnivore is by far the best option without a doubt, it is not the perfect option, sadly. And who knows, maybe there will be somebody out there to make a perfectly composed meat or food that perfectly aligns with your amino acid profile. But that probably will be more than 100 years in time. That'd probably be like thousands of years of time, I think, because that's really complicated and that's really difficult. So anyways, thanks for watching. I hope you learned something in this video, and if you're interested in more videos like this, then please let me know in the comments below, and let me know any video ideas in particular that you might have. If you want to see more videos like this, or this length anyways, then please, again, let me know in the comments below. If you like the video, give it a like, because it helps the video a lot and it helps spread the word. And if you're interested in more science videos like this, then subscribe to the channel, because I plan on making a ton of more videos, and not just actually about carnivore, also about basically the perfect, optimum, healthy lifestyle. And that also has to do with not wearing shoes and not brushing your teeth and not showering. That one might sound a little weird, but maybe you can see my teeth. Yeah, I haven't brushed my teeth in like 2 years. So looks a little weird, but yeah, it's something else. So anyways, thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next one.
Peace.